Tommy Lee Jones is an American actor and film director. He has received 4 Academy Award nominations, winning Best Supporting Actor for his performance as U.S. Marshal Samuel Gerard in the 1993 thriller film The Fugitive. His other notable starring roles include Texas Ranger Woodrow F. Call in the television miniseries Lonesome Dove, Agent K in the Men in Black film series, Sheriff Ed Tom Bell in No Country for Old Men, Hank Deerfield in the Valley of Ella, the villain Two-Face in Batman Forever, Mike Rourke in the disaster film Volcano, terrorist William Bill Stranix in Under Siege, Texas Ranger Roland Sharp in Man of the House, rancher Pete Perkins in The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada, Colonel Chester Phillips in Captain America, The First Avenger, CIA Director Robert Dewey in Jason Bourne, and Warden Dwight McCluskey in Natural Born Killers. He most recently appeared in the science fiction film Ad Astra in 2019 and in the comedy The Comeback Trail in 2020. Jones has also portrayed historical figures such as businessman Howard Hughes in The Amazing Howard Hughes, radical Republican Congressman Thaddeus Stevens in Lincoln, executed murderer Gary Gilmore in The Executioner's Song, U.S. Army General Douglas MacArthur in Emperor, businessman Clay Shaw, the only person prosecuted in connection with the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in JFK, Oliver Veneta Doolittle Lynn, in Coal Miner's Daughter, and baseball player Ty Cobb in Cobb. Early life. Lee was born Thomas Lee Bass on October 3, 1962, in Athens, Greece, to father David Lee Thomas Bass, an American U.S. Army sergeant, and mother Vasiliki Vula Papadimitriou, a contestant on the 1957 Miss Greece Beauty Contest. He has a younger sister, Athena, who is also a drummer. When Lee was approximately 2 years old, his father moved the family back to the United States, settling in California. Lee received his first drumsticks when he was 4 years old, and his first proper drum kit when he was a teenager. He dropped out of high school to pursue a career in music, starting with the LA club band Sweet 19. As a teenager, he listened to Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, Cheap Trick, Kiss, AC/DC and Sweet. His main drumming influences are John Bonham, Tommy Aldridge, Alex Van Halen and Terry Bozzio. Music career. In the late 1970s, Lee's band, Sweet 19, was a regular on the Sunset Strip club circuit in Los Angeles along with other up-and-coming acts such as Van Halen and Quiet Riot. He became acquainted with bassist Nicky Six, whose band's Sister and later London played the same circuit. Six was forming a theatrical band that borrowed heavily from Sister's fusion of occult imagery with a theatrical heavy metal performance, and became a fan of Lee's drumming. It was during this time period that Lee dropped his surname and earned the nickname T-Bone due to his 6'2" 1/2 height and his lean physique. When London finally broke up in 1981, Lee and Six decided to form a new group together. Shortly afterward, guitarist Mick Mars joined the band. Seeking a charismatic frontman, Lee mentioned to the others a singer, Vince Neil, whom he had known casually in high school. Neil soon joined the group, and Motley Crue was formed. Motley Crue quickly built a strong fanbase, and released its debut album Too Fast for Love in 1981 on its own independent label. Elektra Records decided to sign the band shortly thereafter, reissuing the debut in 1982. The band then began a string of hit releases throughout the decade: 1983's Shout at the Devil, 1985's Theater of Pain, 1987's Girls, 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 and 1989's Dr. Feelgood, establishing the quartet as one of the biggest hard rock/metal bands of the 1980s. Lee used several memorable gimmicks during his drum solos at concerts, such as having his entire kit revolving and spinning, or having the entire kit float above the crowd while he continued to play. He was noted for mooning the crowd at nearly every show. The band was known for its decadent behavior both on and off stage, often consuming excessive amounts of drugs, such as cocaine, heroin, pills, and alcohol. In 2004, Lee reunited with the original Motley Crue lineup to release the double-disc anthology album entitled Red, White and Crue, which went quadruple platinum and launched a monumental reunion tour to support it, the Red, White and Crue Tour 2005, Better Live Than Dead, the band's first tour in 6 years. Motley Crue finished the year at number 8 on the top concert money earners list. It played 81 shows and grossed $33 million according to Billboard Box's Core. Solo career. Lee came back once with Motley Crue to go on the Crue's Greatest Hits tour in 1999. With the popularity of rap metal, he formed a band called Methods of Mayhem. The band released a self-titled album the same year and toured in support of it. Although Lee distanced himself from Motley Crue after splitting, he agreed to take part in the band's 2001 autobiography, The Dirt. In addition to Motley Crue and Methods of Mayhem, Lee has made guest appearances on albums by other artists, such as Stuart Hamm, 9 Inch Nails and Rob Zombie. He also contributed a song, Planet Boom, to the soundtrack of then-wife Pamela Anderson's 1996 movie, Barbed Wire, and produced an album for the pre-Goldfinger project from John Feldman and Simon Williams, The Electric Love Hogs. Lee parted ways with Methods of Mayhem partner Tilo and began recording with members of Incubus. He then released his first solo album. The album, 2002's Never a Dull Moment, has tones of rap metal and electronica. The song Blue features guest vocalist Rodleen Getzik. In August 2002, Tommy Lee and his solo band joined Ozfest, Mainstage. In 2006, he formed a new band called Rockstar Supernova with Jason Newsted and Gilby Clarke. The 2006 season of Rockstar selected Lucas Rossi as the lead singer for Supernova. Delana, Magnus Geirsson, and Toby Rand with his own band Juke Cartel were the 3 runners-up and accepted an offer to go on tour with Supernova. The self-titled debut album Rockstar Supernova was released on November 21, 2006. Lee released his autobiography, Tommy Land, and his second solo album, Tommy Land, The Ride, in 2005. The CD featured as a soundtrack to the book and includes the singles, Tryin' to Be Me, Good Times, which was the theme song to his reality TV series Tommy Lee Goes to College, and Hello Again, which features Andrew McMahon from Something Corporate and Jack's Mannequin. Lee was also a guest DJ at WXRK K-Rock in New York during the 4th of July Monster Metal Meltdown in 2005. He also recorded drum tracks for the alternative rock band Jack's Mannequin, which has released the album Everything in Transit. In November 2007, it was announced by Nikki Sixx that Lee was no longer a member of Motley Crue. The drummer reportedly quit after the rest of the band sued his manager, Carl Stubner, for forcing Tommy to take part in reality TV shows, thus forcing the cancellation of a lengthy leg of Crue tour dates in 2006. Lee had already quit once in September 2007 before returning to the band. Vince Neil refuted the claims that Tommy Lee resigned from the band, and said that Motley Crue would be going into the studio in January to start recording its new album. In the end, Lee did end up recording the new album, Saints of Los Angeles, and toured with the band in 2008 on its Crue Fest tour. Tommy Lee's more recent artistic endeavors include touring as an electronic dance music DJ with his Methods of Mayhem DJ/production partner, DJ Arrow. As DJs, they are also known as Electro Mayhem, and clocked over 60 club dates as DJs throughout North America in 2007 alone, with stops in the Bahamas and Central America. Lee and Arrow debuted as DJs on the Mainstage at Ultra Music Festival during Winter Music Conference in 2004. Lee and Arrow began DJing together in 2000. In 2009, Lee appeared in select cities with Sharam, one half of Grammy-winning Deep Dish, accompanying Sharam live on the piano during his house DJ sets. Lee and DJ Arrow also accompanied deadmau5 in his 2011 Meowington Hacks tour. He played keyboards with Deftones at a benefit show for now-deceased bassist Chi Cheng in 2009. In 2014, Lee performed on the Smashing Pumpkins' Monuments to an Elegy album. That same year, he rejoined his Motley Crue bandmates for the group's farewell tour. As part of a legal agreement between the four band members, each signed a contract which would prevent any of them from ever touring under the Motley Crue moniker again unless all members were involved. Film and television career. In 2004, Lee starred in a reality show on NBC titled Tommy Lee Goes to College. Lee was also one of the producers of the show. In spring 2008, Lee began filming another reality TV show with rapper Ludacris for Planet Green titled Battleground Earth. In 2019, Lee guest-starred on Season 7, Episode 14 of The Goldbergs as Professor Lee. Throughout October 2020, Lee played the devil in 4 episodes of Halloween in Hell, a fictionalized musical horror podcast. The series also starred Ian Dior, 24K Golden, Dana Dentata, Femme, and Machine Gun Kelly. Personal life. Relationships. Lee has been married 4 times. His first wife was Elaine Starchuk, whom he married in 1984, divorcing a year later. On May 10, 1986, Lee married for the second time, this time to actress Heather Locklear. The couple divorced in 1993. Their relationship was later chronicled in the Motley Crue biographical film The Dirt, which was released in March 2019 on Netflix. Before meeting actress and Playboy playmate Pamela Anderson, Lee was engaged to model Bobbi Brown. On February 19, 1995, just 4 days after meeting her, Lee married Anderson. They have 2 sons together, Brandon Thomas Lee and Dylan Jagger Lee. The couple divorced in 1998, and were involved in a custody battle until both were granted joint custody in 2002. Although divorced, the couple reunited briefly upon Lee's release from jail but eventually split again in 2001. From 2002 until 2003, Lee was engaged to dancer Mate Garcia, ex-wife of Prince. Garcia sang on Lee's album Never a Dull Moment and toured with him. In 2008, it was announced that Lee and his ex-wife Anderson were back together and living with each other and their children, but they split for good soon afterward. From 2014 until 2017, Lee was engaged to Greek-German singer Sophia Tufa. Lee announced on February 14, 2018, that he had proposed to his girlfriend, social media celebrity Brittany Furlan. They were married a year later on February 14, 2019. Sex tape. Lee and Anderson had videotaped their sexual activities while on a houseboat on Lake Mead, Arizona. The video was stolen in 1995, released on the internet, and became a prime example of viral pornography. According to The Dirt, Lee claims that he was having work done at his house, and a person working at the house found the tape and sold it. Anderson sued the video distribution company, Internet Entertainment Group. During the video, Lee became infamous for blowing the boat's horn. Ultimately, the Lees entered into a confidential settlement agreement with IEG. Thereafter, the company began making the tape available to subscribers to its websites, again tripling the normal traffic on the website. A fictionalized miniseries, Pam and Tommy, debuted on Hulu in February 2022, chronicling the theft and distribution of the stolen tape. Sebastian Stan portrayed Lee and Lily James was cast as Pamela Anderson. Legal troubles and spousal abuse. In 1998, Lee served 6 months in county jail after pleading no contest to kicking Pamela Anderson while she was holding their son Dylan. During an altercation over Anderson's refusal to call and ask her parents not to come over to the family's house, Lee assaulted his wife, leaving her with bruises, a torn fingernail and fear for the safety of her 2 sons, Dylan and Brandon. In May 2000, Lee served 5 days in jail for violating his probation by drinking alcohol. Lee faced a 1998 lawsuit when he allegedly exposed a right-facing Nazi swastika tattoo on his arm to public scrutiny. In 1996, Lee had pleaded no contest to criminal charges of battery against a Jewish photographer after Lee attacked the man outside the famous Viper Room, in L.A. When the photographer sued Lee, the swastika tattoo was said to be visible, and Lee's lawyer argued it would inflame the jury and create unfair prejudice against Lee. Shortly after claiming that the introduction of the tattoo into the court record would produce prejudice, Lee denied its existence. Lee's attorney reported the swastika was a stupid tattoo obtained several years ago. In October 1997, Lee, along with Nikki Sixx, was arrested in North Carolina after instigating a riot during the 1997 concert at Greensboro Coliseum. Motley Crue bassist Nikki Sixx allegedly made racist comments to a black security guard, suggesting that the crowd attack him. Sixx and Lee were said to have poured beer over the guard's head. On June 16, 2001, 4-year-old Daniel Carvin-Varez drowned in Lee's swimming pool while attending a birthday party for Lee's 5-year-old son, Brandon. Daniel's parents, James Varez and Ursula Carvin, sued Lee for negligence. Lee was cleared by a jury in April 2003. In September 2007, Lee was kicked out of the MTV Video Music Awards ceremony after engaging in a fight with Kid Rock. Kid Rock was cited for assault on Lee and pleaded guilty. Activism. Lee is a supporter of animal rights and PETA. In 2010, Lee sent a letter to Terry Prather, the president of SeaWorld, protesting the treatment of Tilikum the orca. Lee believed the animal should be set free and claimed that SeaWorld would not comply, as Tilikum is their primary sperm donor. Lee wrote that he was appalled by SeaWorld's sick and twisted methods for obtaining Tilikum's sperm. Lee concluded that he wished to avoid further tragedies of trainers being killed, as these tragedies had resulted from the whale's aversion to captivity. In 2013, Lee sent a letter to the then Alberta Premier Alison Redford requesting that she end the Calgary Stampede's chuck wagon races that have resulted in the deaths of 50 horses since 1986. Lee, in his capacity as a member of PETA, wrote, "There was a time when cowboys respected their horses instead of riding them to death just to show off for a crowd." The ministry responded that Lee's letter was worthwhile. Discography. Studio albums. Never a Dull Moment. Tommy Land, The Ride. Andro. With Motley Crue. Too Fast for Love. Shout at the Devil. Theater of Pain. Girls, Girls, Girls. Dr. Feelgood. Motley Crue. Generation Swine. Saints of Los Angeles. With Methods of Mayhem. Methods of Mayhem. A Public Disservice Announcement. With Rockstar Supernova. Rockstar Supernova. Guest appearances. Rush Street Richard Marx. The Urge Stuart Ham. Hor Dal Bello. Hellbilly Deluxe Rob Zombie. The Sinister Urge Rob Zombie. Everything in Transit Jack's Mannequin. The Lady Killer, CeeLo Green. Angels and Devil's Fuel. Pounds of Blood, Figure. Mind's Eye, Foreign Beggars. Raw the Bloody Beetroots. You Know My Name / Wedding Day Courtney Love. Monuments to an Elegy, The Smashing Pumpkins. Beer Bongs and Bentleys, Post Malone.